Hey, what's up, guys? Um, Today I will be doing part two of the top 10 WWE superstars who needs to be in the Hall of Fame. And first of all, before I start this video, I just want to say if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do that. Alright, so the last time I did this video, I was at number 7. And I was talking about Rick Rude at number 6. Another person I believe who needs to be in the WWE Hall of Fame is, let's see, I believe, now this person is not a wrestler, nor was he ever an actual wrestler, but I believe that his commentary has really had a lot of memory in it and has had a lot of meaning to it as to where, he really, you know, has changed the landscape of a lot. And this man I'm talking about is JR. I believe that in the future, JR should be inducted to the Hall of Fame. Now, King was inducted, Jerry King Lawler, he was inducted to the Hall of Fame, but at the same time, Jerry King Lawler was an actual wrestler. JR was never a wrestler, but his significance, his whole delivery, the way how he, has been on commentary and has called some of the most memorable matches. I mean, he called The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels Hell in a Cell match. He called The Undertaker versus Mankind, and that is like one of the most memorable things I'll never forget, when The Undertaker threw Mankind off the cell, and JR was like, "Oh my God, my God, my God!" Like, his whole reaction in matches was unbelievable. He really was into it. He would really, you could really see you just really loved JR because he wasn't like other commentators. Like, when bad things happen, he would really go off with it. It was crazy. It was almost like he wanted to hurt the wrestler, and he really did a good job with Jerry King Lawler when he was working with him on Monday Night Raw, and even when he went on to SmackDown for a little bit, was working with Taz. He JR, I love that guy. That man should definitely be into the Hall of Fame, at some point. I don't know if they are going to put him in there, because the last time I checked, he was either fired by WWE or he left the WWE, one or the other. But I really feel that JR should be in the Hall of Fame because he has really done a lot to be there. He may have not actually wrestled, but, his commentary is one of the most memorable things ever. Like, that man is one of my favorite commentators and one of the best that I've seen, who's called some of the greatest matches, some of the most memorable matches of all time. I just mentioned him, The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels Hell in a Cell. He called that match. He called, The Undertaker versus Mankind Hell in a Cell a year later. He called really, really significant matches, and it's just unbelievable. At number 5, another and another superstar, an actual wrestler, I believe, who should be inducted into the Hall of Fame is, and this man, a lot of people can agree with me on this, and I don't know if he, will be inducted or not, but Owen Hart would be number 5. Owen Hart had some really memorable matches. There's no question about it. He had a good match at WrestleMania with his brother. He was a king of the ring. He had tremendous chemistry with his brother, and he really led the key when he was a part of the Nation of Domination, and him and The Rock were, both leaders of that team. He was a really good wrestler. Owen Hart, it's sad of the tragedy what happened to him when he fell in Kansas City. But before then, he had so many members with us. It's almost like, he just would have had even more memory had he been still alive. Because Owen Hart, one thing I never got was he never got pushed to main event status. He always won the mid-card titles. He was always a tag team champion. Like, he was tag team champions with the British Bulldog. He was tag team champions with Yokozuna. He was always like a tag team champion at some points. And of course, before Bret Hart left the WWE, he was back with the Hart Foundation. He formed that with his brother, and they teamed together. He had a little rivalry going on with Triple H. So, I mean, Owen Hart, I will never forget him. He was a really tremendous wrestler, just a really great wrestler. Like I said, his rivalries he had with his brother, especially the match they had at WrestleMania SummerSlam, was tremendous. Tremendous chemistry between the two. Owen Hart was a really good wrestler, He only had one. The only time that he actually did something that was crazy was when he had nearly broke Austin's neck. We all know the story of how that all happened. But, other than that, I think Austin I think even if he was still alive, I think Austin, forgives him for that. Because he didn't do it on purpose. And to look back at it and to see that he did that and just nearly 2 years after he did that, he dies. You don't even really think about that. You think about how he died and things like that. And Owen Hart really, and I mean really, shared a lot of memories with us within the time he had. And I believe Owen Hart should definitely be in the Hall of Fame. No question about it. That man has soul. Like, he is incredible. He should be inducted to the Hall of Fame. At number 4, this man, I believe if they're going to induct Farouk, why not induct him? Another man who should be inducted to the WWE Hall of Fame should be JBL. He doesn't have that name for nothing. This man was the longest reigning WWE champion on SmackDown. But that's not why he should be inducted. See, JBL had a very long career. He started off, a whole different company. I forgot what his name was when he first started, but of course it was something else. But of course I wouldn't know these things. I wasn't born yet, but I've learned the history of him because I always look at old wrestling things and always look at old videos to know the history of these guys. JBL, I think what really helped his career was when he formed the APA. Because even before then, he was, doing good on his own. But when him and Farouk formed the APA, the Acolytes, that he really got huge. And the APA is one of my favorite teams of that era. A really important team, the APA. Bradshaw at the time, his clothesline from hell is without question one of the craziest clotheslines I've ever seen. And JBL has done a lot to get that prestige into the Hall of Fame. He's won a lot of titles. He's been an Intercontinental champion. He's been a United States champion. He beat Chris Benoit at WrestleMania 22 to become the United States champion. He really deserves that spot. I feel like if you're going to induct Farouk, why not induct him? He deserves it, without question. He's done a lot to get there. He won a lot of championships. He was a part of the APA. He pretty much has done it all. in his career except win the World Heavyweight Championship. But he did win a WWE Championship, was the longest reigning champion in 2004. So, JBL, and of course, after that year, he didn't really win anything else. 2006, he was commentating most of the time after WrestleMania because he was hurt. Then he came back in around late 2007, and then in 2008, he was wrestling again until he quit in 2009 at WrestleMania 25 when he lost to Rey Mysterio in a couple of seconds. But, he, in my opinion, you don't have to agree with me on these people, especially with the thing I said about JR. He definitely should be in the Hall of Fame without question. JBL deserves, I don't know when he will ever go, but he should be in there. He most definitely, JBL, should be in the Hall of Fame. And number 3, let's see. At number 3, and I hope this guy I'm getting ready to say is not already inducted, because if he is, I truly, truly apologize for saying his name. But I believe that another guy who should be inducted into the Hall of Fame at some point, because this is not talking about now, it's just talking about in the future, is Bam Bam Bigelow. And the reason why I say his name, because, Bam Bam Bigelow, the only really memorable moment he had as far as WWF was WrestleMania 11, I believe, when he went against that football player. But he was like a powerhouse in ECW. He was, he won a lot when he was in ECW. He was, really good when he was in ECW. It's like that they called him the Beast from the East, I believe. He was, oh my goodness, man. This guy was the man. Like, he did a lot in ECW. Had some very memorable, he had some really good matches. And, the whole thing about him was, the whole thing about a lot of those guys back there, it was always about size, and it was always those kind of things that they worried too much about, which is why certain people like Rey Mysterio, Chris Jericho, that's why they started off in ECW and had to work their way to the WWF because of those issues, because of how they were, because how Vince was in the WWF. And, this man, he spent most of his time in the ECW, and then he went on, and eventually he did go into the WWF, but his main career was in ECW. And like I said, Bam Bam Bigelow, it's a shame what happened to him, but hey, it's happened to a lot of guys in the WWF and a lot of sports that happens. But he, like I said, the most memorable thing I remember from him was, the fact that he had a match with a football player at WrestleMania 11. But still, that man, he should be inducted without question. Let me see. That's it for him. At number 2. Let's see, Bam and Bigelow was number 3. Sorry. I'm going to do one more video, and the next video I make will talk about the final 2 people that I feel should be in the Hall of Fame at some point. Now, these people may just seem random out of the blue, but it's all my opinion, so you don't have to agree. That's perfectly fine. So, with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you do that. And I will talk to you guys another day. Well, not another day, but when I make the next video, which will be the last.